Alright, so what we're going to do is finish shaping out this skull using Zmodeler. And then later in the video, I'll show you how to use topology when we create the rib cage, the lobe for the rib cage, and Z-Mesher guide. So we want to practice using our Zmodeler brush. So I'm going to hold spacebar here on the edge, and I'm just going to slide this edge down, and I'm going to use edge loop complete. And I'm going to move this whole edge down. And that's going to give me the space I need to, again, compartmentalize the eye. And you can see it's sort of following the shape, so I'm just kind of moving it in. And I'm giving myself enough room here where I can inset in the eye socket here. So I'm going to hold spacebar, select inset, and just, let's make sure that I'm not on edge mode here. Let's go over our edge, and there we go, insert edge. That's not what we want. Let's go to slide again, slide that over. There we go. Now over the face, make sure you're on inset, and then inset in the eyes. And what we can do to create even more geometry in here is hold spacebar and go to extrude. And here's our extrude. And you can go out or in, and that creates more geometry, and that sort of creates that inside area there. And because this is all quads, if we want to insert an edge loop here, we can go to over the edge, insert. And what's interesting is if you go to multiple edge loops, right, you can interactive resolution, which is when you click on it and you move your brush up and down, it adds a bunch of loops like that. Or if you go over to um, specified resolution, it'll add like let's say we want 4 and I just click once, it'll add them out nicely averaged out like that. So what I'm going to do is I enjoy using interactive resolution. I just kind of go up and down and add the number that I need. So something like this. And then I grab my move topological brush, hold shift, smooth it out a little bit, just to tap it, and then move these over. And just creating that structure, pushing this in. And what I'm doing is I'm just sort of moving around my skull, creating those areas. It looks like I need some geo here, right? For the inside there. It looks like my nostril here. I move that out a little bit. Pull this down. You know what I should be using? I should be doing it the right way, right? Like using my Zmodeler brush, grab this edge and slide it down, right? Um, and we could also, let's see, I'm going to hold shift, smooth this out a little bit. Now mind you, we are going to Z remesh this later to really clean up our geo. So right now we're just sort of forming our low around this, and we're learning our Zmodeler brush, okay? So there's that. Let's go ahead and create those nostril, the nasal bones here. So spacebar, I'm sorry, Zmodeler. Grab our inset brush here. All right. Again, insert, interactive loop, just one going this way this time. And actually, let's extrude that in before. So let's go to extrude. And I'm going to just push those in. Add that loop. Oops, over that edge. Let's make sure we're on insert. Uh, let's go over that edge. Make sure it'll remember, even though I was on insert point. Looks like we inserted a point regardless. Insert, there we go. And I just want one, going pretty low here. So it's a good way of practicing as well our move brush. Make sure to move it on every. Now when I go to show you the other stuff like the modified topology brush, you might get a little upset because it snaps to the shape of the geo. But the purpose of these exercises is not to take the easy way out. It's to get you to build those spatial relationships, training your eye and your brain. It's not to become a tools person. It's to become an artist, right? Like, say you work at an indie studio and all they can afford to do is pay you your salary, so you're using Blender, which actually I've been in that situation before, and there's nothing wrong with that. I actually made really great money doing it. Um, and they have actually their own sort of sculpting tool like that, or you're using a different sculpting tool like Mudbox at a studio. The goal here, even though I love ZBrush, it's my favorite sculpting tool, is not to make you a tools expert. It's to help become a better artist, right? So that you can see spatial relationships. You can build out those things in clay. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and turn solo mode off just so I can see it. And you can see here we're starting to get a nice shape to our skull. Um, we're at 5 minutes. Let's take a look at some other areas that you'll probably need help with. Let's turn solo mode back off here for this guy. And we're just gonna keep moving. Hold shift, smooth that out a little bit. Pull that out, something like that. I think it would be kind of good to start to build out the side of the skull here. So I'm going to sort of start to shift a lot of this geo forward. And I'll just start building out this area here. Something like this. Looks like I really want to get another loop going this way. And remember, we're doing this for mobile. Mobile's a little bit lower in with mobile, you're getting a little bit lower resolution models and texture maps. So we don't want to go too high with this. And then we can upres it in like to make like a PS whatever version we're at now. I think they're coming out with 5. All right. And there's also a way to snap it to your high, but again, I'll show you that when we do the topological. We move topological. All right, so let's go ahead and looks like we've got a pretty good low. What I'd like you to do is, let's see, finish this off. Just add a bunch of splits. Let me see, what other topological brush can we use to, or what else can I do for move topological that I can teach you really quickly? Let's see, BZM. Let's see. If you're comfortable with Maya, you're used to a lot of this stuff, right? It's scaling out. Like for example, we go to scale, and I click this. You can see it scales out that area, scales in that area, so you can move things. What I'm going to do now is just add an edge here, just start moving. All right. So in the next video, you'll see that I have a pretty good low. I'm going to be using the same tools, adding an edge there, moving each individual point forward, and then same thing here. Just building out that low.